too, but mine shows right there. Of course, it's got something up there now. But,
6:59.
yeah, we just looked at,
I'll tell you when.
he's got clothes
He does?
on the phone.
Mine is in Greenwich Mean Time. We're over.
You just tap it. You don't have to pound it.
You have a second? Here you go. Hey, she got like these ladies.
I believe so. Like,
Something
so I looked at the first reading today. So I know
No,
the only thing that
it
was
didn't say
added,
start recording.
like, the first
No.
reading had all of this, and it even had. it
Recording in
even had
progress.
This was the only thing added.
Well, good evening, everyone. First off, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm going to do my best to use the microphone and ask my friends here too as well. So the first thing we're going to do here is the oath of office for my friend Monty. So, oh, you're right. I'm sorry, Amanda. My bad. It is Tuesday, January 2nd. The time was 7:02, and we will now start our city council meeting. My apologies. You ready, sir? Yes. So repeat after me, sir. I state your name.
Monty Smith,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Washington,
of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform and discharge
perform and discharge
the duties of office
the duties of office
of City Woodland Council Position 7.
of City of Woodland of Council Position 7,
Oh, my bad. According to the law,
according to the law,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. We can sign that. Next, Amanda, do you want to do roll call for us, please?
Councilmember Rounds,
Here,
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Burke,
Here.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Here.
Councilmember Hall,
Here.
Councilmember Freimark,
Here.
Councilmember Houston.
All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into citizen communications for items not on the agenda. So we'll start with the list here, and if there's other people online, people in the room that want to speak, we'll go there. But let's do first off of the list here. First is Ms. Fregmark. Come on up, Meg.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? I want to talk about my community, Woodland East on Gun Club Road. We're 130 units. We're senior citizens. Some of us are disabled. Some are veterans. But we're all on a lower income or a fixed income. And that's why we could afford our manufactured homes. Since 1981, rent caps have been illegal in the state of Washington. My community has suffered from that rule since it was purchased by an investment firm in 2017. At that time, our residents were paying about $385 for the land the homes we purchased sits on. today, we are going to be paying in 2024 $1,250 on the same amount of property. My community is suffering from lack of rent caps and neglect from investors that buy properties but don't want to keep up the maintenance. One of the things that happens is our property values will go down because of that. And our little communities that were always kept running properly are going by the wayside, making us targets for repurposing and things like that big investors like to work with. Now, we've had some great laws and some great programs come into place, and AG's office has put in a dispute resolution program which works if and only the investors decide to work on the violations that they are accused of by the AG's office under an investigation. However, the penalty for them is just $10,000 if they don't. So maybe a community like my own won't get the heat fixed, won't get the air conditioning fixed, won't have safety signs put up, won't have the sidewalks taken care of, whether it's a city problem telling them or whether it's a resident telling them. We're being sold now, and our HOA, which is an eligible organization, tried to compete for sale, but we found out today that because of their high price, which they're saying their future investment can be $33 million, we don't have that kind of money. We've gone through Rock Northwest to try to get us grants, to try to get us a mortgage, and they've come back and said, because of that figure of $33 million, that it really is a made-up figure because these people don't own the homes, we do. But they're allowed to look at that as a future value. Well, what I'm really worried about and what I want to get your attention to is my community now is afraid of being outpriced, which means the rent goes up so high we can't afford it, and we have to leave our community or leave our homes. We have had evictions because of this. We've had evictions of disabled people. They don't care. We've had our property values go down because this year we're going to be paying $1,250 for our property rent. And therefore, we can't sell our homes the way we did for the amount of money we were getting before. We were told that by realtors. So our investments that we made in our home that we keep up, and we also have to comply to rules and regulations of the park, we can't get our fair market value back. So now we have renters in our community who are saying, do I pay my rent or my meds? Do I pay my rent or do I get food, or how do I get food? I can't afford my rent. And they're stuck then to the powers to be. And I think this is a humanitarian crisis and situation in our town. And I've done a little checking, and I have studied whether we're a Dillon rule or a home rule city. Dillon rule means that you the approach to what laws you can obey completely is ruled by the state, and home rule is when your local community can get involved in local affairs. I'm here to appeal that this city council thinks about getting involved in this. Our community's not the only one. I know apartment people have the problem with rent over gouging, but the manufactured homes weren't included in that in the past, and now they are. And I think it's about time we looked at the antiquated laws, we start looking at our tiny little town of Woodland and say, we're not going to allow this. I'm the president of my HOA. We are working hard with the legislature, we are working hard with our community, but we need our town to support us. Thank you for hearing me tonight.
Can I ask one question? You might have said it and I missed it. So are we a Dillon rule as your community? Or
We're
is it
both.
You're both.
State of Washington could either be a Dillon rule or a home rule. They support both rules.
Got it. Okay. I just want to make sure I had that clear. So,
Thank
okay.
you.
No, thank you. Linda Asher?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Linda Asher, and I too live in the Woodland East Mobile Home Park. I want to give a different perspective of a day in my life. I worked all my life. I was fortunate to get a pension. I didn't save a whole lot of money, but the money I have is invested in my mobile home. That's where I was going to end my days, in my little lot. Now, the developer that is poised to purchase the land is using different tactics or strategies, eviction, raising it so high that we can't afford it. They will evict us, and I will have nothing. I will have nothing. Please, I implore of you, don't let me walk away with nothing. Support the vulnerable population at Woodland East Mobile Home Park. I know that you're interested in bringing in land development, you're bringing in commerce, I know, but please, can you put us first? I'm a good citizen of Woodland. This is where I invested my money that I worked hard for all my life. Don't let them do this to me. Please, I implore of you, support us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add something to that?
Let me go through the list here and then I will bring you up. I mean, just so I keep here to the deal. Mary Ripp, because I have more people on the whole topic and so I just want to stay to it.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I come tonight to point out some things that I hope you're aware of, and if you're not aware of them, then I also want the public to be aware of them. So at the December 18th council meeting, there was a council summary sheet prepared and signed by former City Administrator Pete Boyce, and he outlined the changes of Ordinance 1550, which is the 2024 budget amendment or budget document. What it did not mention was that the lieutenant position had been eliminated from the budget in the police department, and the $149,000 was moved to unallocated fund balance. So my question is, was the chief of police aware of this? I don't know. It appears the city council was not informed of it when they adopted the budget, because I didn't hear about any discussion that happened during that meeting, and I also did not read about it in any agenda summary sheet or any of that, so I think it was hidden. And I want to ask why. Next, I heard there's termination of 3 key positions at the City of Woodland. So there are 3 employees: City Administrator Pete Boyce, Public Works Director Tracy Coleman, and Lieutenant Jennifer Ortiz. They were terminated by former Mayor Will Finn, effective on December 31st, 2031. I know you're all aware of that because you had an executive session, which Mayor Deinhardt called rightfully so. What I don't know is if everybody on the council and the public knows what this costs. Lieutenant Ortiz gets 3 months severance pay of $37,000 plus keeps Bolo the dog. Okay, so that's fine. And here she already has another position elsewhere. Good for her. Boyce and Coleman each get 6 months severance pay, $99,000 and $83,000. So that's a grand total of $219,335 or more. This all stems from the council action that Finn convinced the city council was a good thing and put through on November 20th. That was a vote of 4-3. Rounds yes, Hall yes, Holland yes, Alderman yes. No were Burke, Smith, and Councilmember Doty. So why did the 4 council members think this golden parachute would benefit the city and its taxpayers? That's my question. And then after hearing that the new mayor called the executive session, here we are tonight. So my comment is, wow, Finn sure screwed the taxpayers. Golden parachute for sure. For sure. Happy New Year, taxpayers. I have a few other items on my list, and they relate to items on the agenda, but I'd like to just briefly talk about those. The Minol 2-year contract is an extension. In reading the Minol contract, in the last couple meeting and agenda summary sheets, their contract already renewed for an additional 1-year period. You don't need to take action tonight. Maybe you want to discuss it, that's fine. But you should let your new administration see what needs to be done about the Minol contract and where that's going from there. Ordinance 1548, final reading on the marijuana retail sales tax, is on for final reading and says to go to light industrial. That still could be amended to add in a C2 zone where they currently have their business, or it could be in any zone. That's a council decision. Next thing is bids. Reading the reflector, looking at legal notices. Is the council aware that there is a bid out there to do an expansion to the wastewater treatment plant, to the office, build a new shop, and then also expand the city public works shop? It's on the small works roster, and it's buried in the city website. I had to look around pretty hard to find it after I found it in the paper. Was it in the 2024 budget to build this? Did the council know about it? Was it discussed in the budget workshops? Is it part of the capital facilities plan? Is the council aware of the design and what they're going to build if they do award the bids? What's been expended so far? Bids are due January 10th. They're going to be coming in. Another item, Finn and his Las Vegas visa charges in 2023. What happened to that? Was any investigation done? I don't think so under the current mayor, but I'm hoping that that gets looked into further. Tonight's vouchers, there's another $1,680 in visa charges that is under Will Finn. And what is that for? Does the finance committee look into that? So what's next to surface? There's audit results coming out. I know the audit is going to be finalized here probably in the next couple weeks, so I hope you're all paying attention to that. And I hope that records haven't been destroyed and that you guys are ready for a really hard look at things that have happened and things that Mayor Deinhardt is going to be doing and on his plate. He's going to need some help from all of you. Thank you.
So, hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, help me out here, Amanda, help me out, council. I kind of want to have a dialogue conversation on these, as things come up. I think open dialogue conversation has had to be. Some of these items are on the agenda, so I want to address those with the agenda items.
Mm-hmm.
The terminations and the severance, those I was going to address under the mayor. So, again.
Perfect.
If anyone wants to speak now, or we can do it later, but I think that is part of open dialogue and conversation, so.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jay Shaw.
Actually, Mary pretty much covered everything I was curious about. The only thing I'm curious about is I wrote down on that slip, fraud. I forgot to put the question mark because I was a little strung out when I wrote that down. The more I think about it, the more upset I get. I don't know if this is pre-planned theft, what I consider what happened to the people here in this courtroom, but it is definitely theft from the city. And most of the people here tonight are part of that group. Just curious what's going to become of it later.
And again, like I said, we'll have a
Chit chat about it.
yeah.
Good
So,
deal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Larry Crosby.
I've been coming to these meetings for about a year now. I haven't said anything. I've just kind of sat in the back of the room. But I also go to Longview, Kelso, city council meetings, county commissioners meetings, a lot of school board meetings on a regular basis. That means I have a very terrible life. I mean, that's all I do. But I want to make a couple of observations. I've been coming in here, and there's something that I have felt was strange from the first day. And it's not anything I could put my finger on, but there was something that I sensed was not right in here. And I think it started to hit me when the primary election results came in. And your mayor, ex-mayor, only got 30% of the vote. Yet, this body up here supported him 100% on almost every vote that came through. So I sat there and I've been puzzling in my own mind how that could possibly happen if you are the representatives of the people who were only supporting somebody by 30%, yet you were all up here cheerleading for him. Now, I don't know what to make of that. I think what it says to me is that we have, and I'm including myself in this, we all have to do a better job. We cannot trust somebody with the kind of power that was given to Finn and then allowed him to do whatever he was doing. So that's my first thing. I also want to assure you that Woodland is not alone. There is tremendous change going on all over the county. You may or may not be aware that there's a complete flip of the city council in Longview. They are going in a different direction. I just came from Kelso. As of about an hour ago, they have a new mayor. And you guys are going through what you're going through right now. So this is going on all over the county. And we, as citizens, now have to recognize how far down the tube we've gone and what we've got to do to turn this around. And it's not only you people up there, it's everybody out here. You're here tonight. You need to be here from now on. Otherwise, these people up here, no matter who it is, will have the same pressures of doing maybe the wrong thing. And I would like to announce it right here that I have a solution for your empty seats over here. This lady right here has probably been doing most of the work anyway, so give her the money.
Thank you, Larry. Bill Dunlap. If anyone wants to comment here, I mean, no hard feelings here, so.
Good evening, and thank you for serving all of you. I moved to Woodland in 2001, and shortly after I moved here, I was asked by our priest at our church, I belong to St. Philip Catholic Church, to be on the finance council because the church had been losing money for about 5 years and they had to keep borrowing money from the archdiocese. I have a business background and I'm a certified radiology administrator. So the first thing I did was I went to the manager at that time, Sherry Monge, who also happened to be the mayor's wife. And I asked her if I could look at the income and expenses. And she wouldn't show it to me. So I went to the priest and he says, well, Sherry says, no, I guess I can't make her do it. So I went to the Archdiocese of Seattle, who oversees our parish, and they said it's up to the priest to show you the books. And so I went back to the finance council and told them what they had said in Seattle and what Father Jerry had said. And the rest of the finance council said that if Sherry didn't show me the books, they were going to all resign. So we told that to the priest, Father Jerry, and he ordered her to show us the books. Well, she never did show me the books, but she resigned. And I got to see the books later. We're not going to go into that. But ever since then, I've had a hell of a time with the city of Woodland. Been harassed. Every time I do business with them, it's a big problem. I used to live in the house next door, and the city came to me one time and said they were going to put in a new sewer lift station and take over some of my front yard, and they own that property. And so I went out there, and it looked like quite a bit of property they were taking from me, so I scratched my head, and I talked to the guy had bought the house from Morrill Olson, and he was also the developer, and he says, no, the city doesn't own that property. And so I went to the city, and they said, yes, they do. So I hired an attorney, Leanne Bremer, and she told me to hire a surveyor, which I did, and it proved that the land was mine and not the city's. So the city had to pay me $16,000. And then another time, our street lights went out in front of our house. Went to the city. They said that they required them to be built when a neighborhood was built, but they never accepted them. So I contacted the developer, Morrill Olson, again, and told him the story that the city says they never accepted the plat when it was developed. And he said, oh, yes, they did. And he sent me a document, which I still have at home, and you probably have it on file. But anyway, Mayor Finn said he would make sure the lights got fixed when I showed him that document, but they never have been fixed. The lights are still out. What I'm here tonight about is I built a new house next door a few years back, right across the street from the Lilac Gardens. And I paid...
I was going to ask you where you live without giving your address. I mean, obviously you don't want everyone in
Yeah.
town to, hey, everyone, this is where Bill lives.
And
But-
it's across from the... And, well, what I had done is I bought a plat of land next to my old house that Fleetwood Homes used to own. It was 4.9 acres, and it's on the lake, so it's a nice piece of property. And I kept 9/10 of an acre for myself. And so I paid a little over $9,000 to have water and sewer put in and a meter, and that included the meter deposit. And after about a year, I have a pretty big lawn, and my water bills were getting to be like $1,200 every 2 months. So I went to the city and asked if I could put in a separate line just for irrigation, so then I wouldn't have to pay for the sewer and the runoff, because it was just an irrigation line. And the cities agreed that was a good idea. And so I asked them if they could tap into my current line in front of the meter. And I think the gal's name was Janice Fisher, I believe, that I talked with. And we came up with a price of about $1,500. Well, somewhere along the line, Tracy Coleman got involved and says, no, we can't do that. We have to run a new line all the way across the street. We have to dig up the street and put in a new line. And that was a little over $5,000 to have that done. So anyway, it came time to put in the water line, the irrigation line, the new line, and Dennis Ripp, I think he's here. He came out and he goes, why are we running a new line across the street? Why don't we just tap in right here? And I said, that's a good idea, and that's what we did. And so afterwards I went to Tracy and asked, can I have my money back, for the extra? And she says, no, we're not giving your money back. So anyway, that's my story. I brought in the source documents, and I was wondering if I could have an audit of my situation. Here's all the source documents.
Again, I know nothing of it, but we will certainly go that direction. I mean, absolutely. Your comment about looking at the financials and everything, I'm going to go into a little cul-de-sac here with an accounting background. I firmly agree with you, with all of our citizens. The city finances is all of our finances. It's not mine, it's not yours, it's not yours, it's not yours. We should all be knowing where our money is being spent and where it was spent. We'll get into the severance piece of it. It breaks my heart. It's very frustrating. Again,
And a street light, if you don't mind.
and a street light.
And I'd like to just make one more
No
comment.
guarantee that I'll get the street light fixed. I don't want that in, you know. So,
I'd like to make, just let everybody know that I crunched the numbers on Minol, you know, our new water billing company. And they got these tiers now, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. And I'm pretty good at math, so I sat down and crunched the numbers. And if you go from tier 1 to tier 2, it's a 25% increase. If you go from tier 1 to tier 3, it's a 50% increase. And if you go from tier 1 to tier 4, it's a 100% increase in what you pay for your water. And I don't think that's fair to large families, and I don't think that's fair to people that want to water their lawns.
so on the Minol, we'll get into the Minol. I just want to be clear. People, I think, know how I feel about Minol and those things. I want to be clear, though, the pricing and the rate structure is not something that Minol has done. That is something that has been passed by council and by the city. So just,
Yeah.
you know, I just want to be clear there. I mean, people need to be aware who sets the pricing in that
Yeah.
tier.
Well,
So,
as to what the previous gentleman said, you know, I wish the city council would represent the citizens and not the city.
yep,
Thank you.
agreed. Thank you, sir.
I have one question. Can I ask you a quick question? What was going on with that light fixture? Do you know what's happening with it?
Yeah, there's 5 lights. It's along North Pekin Road on the lakeside. And when it was installed, they didn't put the wires in conduit, and the wires have disintegrated.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Donna Butler.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Welcome. At the December 18th council meeting, a woman came to the front and expressed she was really sorry that Bolo was leaving the department at the end of the year. That was news to most of us. Mayor quickly corrected her. It is assumed. Really? Who was assuming that? Now we know. The things that took place in our city on December 29th were well planned in advance of those who were a part of it. And like the woman who gave the bag of treats for Bolo, Lieutenant Ortiz is wanting to take some things for Bolo too, at the city's expense. In tonight's vouchers, you will see her $116 Petco purchase made just 2 days before leaving Woodland. She wants taxpayers to pay for it. I'm glad we heard the oath of office tonight. That is the same oath of office Mayor Finn took, to faithfully and impartially fulfill the duties of his office. I am very sorry. I really am very sorry for those of you who believed you could trust Mayor Will Finn to execute his duties of his office with integrity and in the best interest of Woodland. You should be able to trust the mayor, especially when he's your friend, but he worked behind your backs and made a cavalier move. And now you're left to run the city that has been left in a difficult situation to smoothly navigate. We believe if you band together and welcome transparency and accountability, Woodland can move on. Thank you.
Thanks. Kim Blofus.
Hi, good evening. It's really good to see you guys. Congratulations. Good luck. I wanted to talk, my background, my initial formal background was like you in accounting. And so I've had to watch some of the things that have happened in the city over the last few years, and it's been pretty depressing to me. Having worked in large Fortune 50 corporations, a lot of the things that have gone on here are highly questionable. And when you look at what Will Finn did in the last few days of his office, that shows a level of collusion between senior staff that I didn't even see in corporate America. And that level of collusion allows you for a lot of fiscal irregularities. One of the things that I did do is I went in and I looked at the financial statement audits for the city of Woodland, and I think one of the things that caught my attention was like the very first page. It says, the city did not have adequate internal controls for ensuring accurate reporting of its financial statements. And it appears that they've been taking money behind our backs. I think you're going to be in a really difficult situation. They've had a month to clear out records. And I would highly recommend that we look at a forensic audit to see what happened here in the city, to understand just how much money went to personal use, and from there determine where the next steps need to be. For some of the council members that supported Finn and allowed him to do this, it's really unfortunate, because there's a lot of people in the city who have felt that the council has not supported them as independent citizens here. But they definitely have taken our money. The other audit that I looked at was the report on the government grant that the city had for COVID, so the Coronavirus Relief Fund. And I think what caught my attention on this is they got almost $300,000, and they only distributed $187,000. This program was not communicated to the community. When I look at who did get the money, it was people that were, I guess, were part of the group, part of the group that was friends with City Council and with Will Finn. And, I think about that because I remember seeing what was happening with Brock Restaurant and just how hard a time they were having surviving. And there was $100,000 left in this fund, and no one went out to tell them that they could get this. And, the question becomes, I think you guys have a lot of work in front of you, and just trying to get this whole thing back under control and understand what happened with the money. I think we're going to find that a lot of it not just went with Will. I think we're going to find that a lot of it went with the other four, because that level of collusion was so bold that, to see that in corporate America would be horrifying, because they would be jailed. Formal charges would be pressed against them. So good luck to you guys. I will try and support you in the way that I can. I really appreciate, Todd, you stepping up and actually going for mayor. Wow, huh? Thank you. Okay, and thank you to the City Council.
Thank you, Kim. Obviously, more conversation. With that, Whitney Rabb.
Hi, everybody. It's been a rough 3 days for all of you, I'm quite sure. And none of you want to be in the position that you're in, I'm positive. And I hope that we can finally start turning our community around and work together, because our community, when it works together, does amazing things. I'm hoping that there'll be, I agree with the forensic audit. I hope that happens. I think that the people who were involved in this are held accountable for what they did. If people remember, the salary contract changes were originally supposed to happen in September. This wasn't something that was a last minute decision. It happened after the primary and it got pulled. And so this timeline wasn't something that happened just over the last month. This was collusion that was happening for months. And it's a sad thing to see happen. And I've tried to do a little bit of research. I know that there is a Washington State Executive Ethics Board that can investigate this as well. And I'm hoping that each and every one of you reaches out to them to see what can be done. I find it atrocious that there's $1,700 in travel. That's what it's under on the budget for the receipts is travel expenses by Mayor Finn and by Tracy Coleman for December. I'm not sure what travel happened. I'm not sure if you guys know what travel happened. I was here the meeting when, the person came up and was saying, how sad they were to see that Bolo was being fired and it wasn't, and I think it's also, there needs to be an apology to the Lockwood family who donated the dog, who had every intention for this dog to serve the community and to be a community resource, and that has been taken away to me, it's unethical, it's deceitful, and it's pretty disgraceful what has happened by the individuals who are now gone and then left the community the way that it has. But in ending, I hope that everybody can work together. I know that each of you are up here because you want good things for our city, and I hope that we can go forward doing that. Thank you.
Yep. Keith?
Hi, Keith Blau. I'll represent myself first. I wanted to thank you all for serving, and it is our obligation to do better every day, even if it's 1%. And that includes us too. We've got to be involved. We can come to these meetings, but if we don't do anything besides that, nothing's going to happen. Okay, on to Planners Days. I have a check to present for our theme winner tonight, Jaden Paul. She was the winner of the theme entrance for Planners Days, the 102nd year, out of about 80 entries. So we did better with entries this year. That was better. And so this is for Katie and Cassidy. And was Jaden in on on it too? All right. So let's give Jaden a big round of applause and a check for $100. Thank you. Planners Days this year will be June 13th to June 16th. Come and see me if you want to get involved. Thank you.
So hold on, can we get a picture?
Yeah, we can get a picture.
Come on.
The theme is All Together Now. Right?
So,
All together.
Travis, do you have a phone? Do you take a picture? Come on, we need a picture with Pete. Or with Keith, I mean. Come on.
Good luck. Good job, Jaden.
Excellent, thank you. On Planners Day, hold on here, Keith. I'm going to give a little plug. I know you all work very diligently. There's a handful of people. I have said, Keith, I'll step up. I think it takes a lot of us in a village to do this. And a community is something that we all like to do. If we all give a little, we can all take a lot out of it. So I encourage each and every one of you, reach out to Keith to help on that committee. Keith, I already told you.
I'm at your service.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, with that, before I go to online, is there anyone else in the room that wants to speak about something that is not on the agenda? I see a hand about 5 rows back. Come on up, sir. Oh, yep.
very brief.
I just need you to state your name and spell it really briefly so Amanda
I don't
can
have
get
to by constitution, so.
Okay.
Yes, I prefer not to. But it's going to be pleasant, so.
Okay.
I totally support people saying there should be an audit. It sounds like there was immense amount of corruption going on for a small town, even getting the Attorney General involved possibly, and I think there should be charges if anything's going on. I think you should be very serious about it. Thank you.
Okay. Sir?
My name is Ken McMillan, and I live in North Fork Trailer Park, and we're running into the same problem as they have. My landlord is raising our rent this year $200, and he told me that he was going to keep going until he was up even with the one down on where they live, and we're just the same shape they are. They're 55 and older. A lot of people there that can't work. They don't even make enough to pay their bills now. And so if the city could kind of step in and do something to stop this rent raising every year, it would be much appreciated. And another thing I'd like to bring up is that every time somebody wanted to say something when Will Finn was here, he would shut them up and wouldn't let them talk. And so everybody that's come up here tonight has said something that they didn't like about Will Finn. So I think you got a lot of work to do.
Thank you, sir.
you.
On the trailer park piece, not to put you on the spot, Meg, but do you know, as president, has your trailer park reached out to theirs, and are they working together, or do you know?
We belong to a big, I guess, cooperative, AMCO. We reach out to AMCO, and they very often give us the names of others having that trouble that we could talk to. I was not aware of this, although I did get phone calls from a trailer park near Horseshoe Lake telling me that they just found out all of a sudden that they were bought out, and they had all these really difficult rules to follow that they didn't even know, and I was able to give them to AMCO and to the Housing Alliance, who I'm part of, and other people who are well in the know, more than I am, about what's going on, and we go to them for, help. What do we do next? Who do we talk to?
Perfect.
What do we do?
Okay,
Can I ask a
thank you.
question?
And hold on one second. I apologize. Meg, it would be easier if you're at the phone. There's people online who can't hear you, so I apologize. That's my fault, everyone. Don't get all upset. My bad.
I just want to know, is this the same company that owns the units in Long Beach that's getting sued right now? Is it the same investment company?
I don't know that company.
Which company? Oh,
We're Deer Point Meadows. We're owned by Denise and Michael Werner. They have a horrible reputation. If you've read the newspapers,
Yeah.
they have done horrible things. They have bulldozed over people's homes without their permission. They have
I think they have $2
come
million
and
fines right now.
they had come to other parks with their representatives locked and loaded and frightened the senior citizens. They have stated they're not afraid of the big bad AG's office in the newspaper. They have stated these laws don't pertain to them. And I think it's about time we took back control what happens in our little community, but look across the state of Washington. These big investing firms are just running roughshod over all of us seniors. And they seem to be, what they want is RV parks and manufactured home parks. And I think one of the reasons is manufactured home parks weren't included in the grand scheme of housing and affordable housing and things like that. And it was just the last couple of years that the legislators have recognized there's a group of people out here. But beside all that, Who's out there to help us seniors? We absolutely gave money to all these cities and to the state of Washington to become what it is today. And now, when we're in trouble, nobody's coming to our defense. And we have to get out there. This is not a comfortable situation for me to stand up here. This isn't what I am educated in, but I am so willing to go beyond my comfort zone to stand up for the people, especially in my park, because I know it first-handedly. We have food we put up on our mailbox area so that they can have it. We have our own little private food bank because people.
We did that too. We put
There you
produce
go.
out there for you guys.
So I think it's really a beautiful thing that our community sees a problem, but we have the big bad wolf coming down our necks, people.
Okay. Thank you. Oh,
I think that you said it's Deer Point. Is that what it was?
Deer Point Meadows
And I think it's-
Investments LLC.
And I think from what I read, that's the same as Be Young RV, or not Be Young, sorry, RV in Style.
They own them too.
Yes, and I think it's Ilwaco is where the issue was. but
Ilwaco was
they got the
issue.
fines.
There are other places besides Ilwaco. Vancouver, Cascade Park has probably pretty aligned with us what happened with their lower rent, which was reasonable to the property size, and now they're up to $1,050. So we're not unique, but all of a sudden we're being sold out again, and we don't even have our RCWs, fixed from the Warners. So where are we now? Thank you.
no, thank you. Appreciate you coming back up.
That gentleman over there.
Yep.
My landlord has mentioned selling out to the same outfit that has bought these people too. That's what we need to look forward to.
Good evening. My name is Ed Lynette, Council and Mayor. This is a problem that goes back quite some time ago, and I don't know what the resolve is because from the former administration, I couldn't get a straight answer. At 1497 Gorig Street, there's a 55-plus community. They're little small apartments that are fairly old that are right next to the Jefferson apartments. And in there, they have no security lighting, no safety lighting. This street goes all the way back, and there's no safety lighting. So I went to the owner of the company, of Columbia River Properties, I believe it is, talked to them, said, that's not our problem, that's a city problem. So I scheduled a meeting with Tracy, and I went in, and we had a visit. And she said, no, that's a private property, it's not our problem. These are much like the folks that live in the senior RV parks. They're all old people, over 50, many of them 70, 80 older. And it's very dangerous down there. And I don't know who the right person is. Who do you talk to? Is that a problem for Public Works? Is it in fact something that I need to look at maybe doing a lawsuit against the owners of the property? I don't know, but I kind of feel like I was blown off and didn't get an answer, a real answer. Is that at all anything that the city's responsible for? I don't know. Who owns those streets?
So we don't have a public works director.
Right, I know that.
But I've taken this down. I will work with the department. I will figure out and look at the right of way and the easement, the ownership, and figure that piece out for you.
If you go down there and look at it at night, you'll see it's just completely dark. And the problem to me could be solved by one Cobra light at the very, what would that be? That would be the north side, kind of the northeast, northwest, or whatever. And on the other side, just shine down that driveway so somebody can see. It's not safe.
Okay.
Alrighty?
I'll take on the ownership piece.
All right, thank you.
Nope, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the room for not on the agenda? Come on up, Mr. Pettit. You signed up for items on the agenda.
Oh, sorry. I got talking to somebody next to me, and I have an attention span this long, so. Anyway, I would like to welcome Mayor Deinhardt and council members. I'm looking forward to a new era in Woodland government, hopefully an era that welcomes the participation of citizens and small business owners, as well as creating an environment that fosters positive communication and moves away from the philosophy of the last 8 years that was as follows: don't piss off City Hall because we don't get mad, we get even. I had a couple topics I wanted to talk about, but they've been really well covered, so I won't bore anybody with any more stuff. But I do have my claim form for the damages from the Scott Road project that almost put me out of business. And it's all here in my current claim form. And do I give it to Amanda or do I give it to you?
Come into the office. Well, you can give it to Amanda right now.
Okay.
I won't make you come into the office during office hours. Hand it to Amanda.
Anyway, everything else has been beat to a pulp already, so I'll spare everybody my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room on non-agenda items? So now I'm going to open it up online. I believe there's 1 or 2 people. I think there's an individual under the name Carol online, if you would like to speak.
Mine is for an agenda item.
Oh, perfect. I apologize, Carol. Is there anyone online that has a non-agenda item then? I will open it up for you. Okay. With that, we are going to move out of non-agenda items and we're going to move into agenda items unless, nope, I would love to. Yeah, citizen communication on the agenda.
Motion to suspend rules and let them communicate during agenda items.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? To let them talk during each item.
I think we do that during the
So I would need to let them all sit and chit chat.
approval of agenda.
Right.
I think we would suspend the rules to be able to speak before each action item. Is that what we're going for?
Yep.
So right now, people can talk for items on the
Right.
agenda.
Okay.
Do we want to, like, we can just skip over this and then just go agenda.
That's what I would recommend. I would like to, I would like to skip over item 6, agenda items. I would just like to get an approved agenda and then we will let,
All right. Motion.
But I think we do have a motion on the floor, but we don't have a second.
I
so
second it.
Okay, so now we got to.
Okay. Motion to withdraw motion. Sorry.
I think we need to talk to
I want to withdraw my
figure out
motion.
where we're at right now before we go too much further.
I'm going to withdraw my motion and re-motion. Okay? I'm going to motion to approve agenda with the removal of action item E of the Minol and then add budget amendment as action item with the next available ordinance number to be back to our original first reading of our budget from our December 4th meeting at our first reading. And then also with the motion to suspend the rules to let the citizens communicate during each action item.
Second.
so I want to be clear here. Your first motion,
It's a long one.
your first motion is to remove item E, the Minol contract.
Yes.
It's all one motion for the change of.
So that's coming off.
That's coming off. You want to add
The budget as originally approved at the first reading on December 4th with lieutenant in the budget, the lieutenant position,
Okay.
not actual lieutenant. And then to suspend the rules so that the audience can speak at each action item.
Perfect. And I have a second over here.
Me.
Okay.
Monty seconded, Melissa.
But there's a motion on.
Hold on. I have a
There's a motion
motion
on the floor.
on the floor first. So I have to hear the pros and then we'll get into your, fire away, Melissa.
Okay, so I motion to remove action item E because it's already extended for a year and I don't feel we need to sign an additional contract. So I think we just need to remove it completely and just see what we have to work with right now, and if we need to bring it back up at a later date, we talk about it then, not right now. I motion to bring the budget because we still need a lieutenant position, whether it was Ortiz or not. I still believe that that needs to be in our budget for our police station, and that was never intended for us to remove. So I believe that we need to put it back in, so it will be a new ordinance as a first reading of our first reading that we did approve, and then we'll have a second reading next meeting if it gets approved today. And then I believe that our citizens need to be able to speak at our action items.
Okay. Money?
I would concur. When I found out about the budget item, it pretty infuriated me. It seems like we had the wool pulled over our eyes on more than one thing. So I appreciate you adding it back in.
Now, JJ? I need you to speak into the microphone, sir.
No, I'm gonna hold on.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. We really should have two separate motions. Unfortunately, I agree with both of these, so I don't suppose we have to do that now. But in the future, come on.
There you go.
Okay. In the future, I just try to limit that to one idea at a time per motion. In this particular case, I agree with both of them, so I'm okay with a vote for both of them at the same time.
Question?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing on that they should be separate items, but they are gonna be separate items for us to vote on. So we're
In the
gonna
end.
get to vote on them anyway.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree if I could get my mic to work. Yes, but just in the future, just keep in mind, folks, that we should have a single item per motion. But
I'm going to let
we'll
Monty
go with
speak,
that.
and depending on what he says, I might have something to say.
Yeah, I think we're both thinking the same thing. It's one agenda, so we're changing the agenda, and so I think that's why it's one motion right here for agenda approval with changing that and adding the action item to the agenda.
Okay, with that, Amanda, do you want to take a vote? Roll?
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
The ayes have it. So from there, we will go to reports of city council. Travis, anybody have,
You said city council.
oh, got it. My bad.
I just want to say that this year's light parade that was put on was so huge and fabulous, and I couldn't believe how many participants there were, and just what a joy it brought to our community over Christmas this year. And I just couldn't believe it just kept going and going, and the lights and the Grinches, and I mean, it was just such a wonderful thing that came through our town. And I think every year it has gotten bigger and bigger, but this year I couldn't believe how large it was this year. And my daughter now has a Jeep, and she was like, I can't wait to be in it next year. I want to do this to my Jeep. And so it was just super exciting to see how many people in the community really came together and put on such a fantastic thing. It was huge. So I really enjoyed it, and just thank you for everybody who participated and brought such joy to, I mean, everyone of all ages in our community. So it was really a wonderful thing to be a part of seeing. So
Anyone else?
Yeah, I had the privilege of going to the Woodland Action Center's open house. Very well done, and I would encourage anyone who has serviceable clothing and those kinds of donations to give them to the Action Center. They do a great job. That's an excellent thrift store, and that helps fund the emergency supplies that they provide. That was a great open house. We saw a lot of good things happening for Woodland, including, maybe people don't know this, but about 180 families every week get fed out of our Woodland Action Center. So it's a big deal for us, and it's a very important part of our community. And I hope everybody will support that. I just wanted to give a shout out to them for their open house.
Do you deliver them clothes over there by the tracks?
That's where it is, yes.
I attended the Woodland Action Open House as well, and it is very well put together, and they seem like they're doing a fantastic job in the Action Center for the donations and going up there and purchasing things. All that money goes back into the building, paying for the lighting and everything, keeping it open. But they have a really good layout out there. It's pretty easy to navigate around in there. I think it's worth a trip for anybody to go in there and kind of just cruise around and see if there's anything you like. There is some hot button items that they do sell well of, and they passed out a sheet for donations. They don't just take everything. They're looking for things that are, I think, sellable that they can use to try to raise money for them, the building, and raise money for the food shelter and the food bank and everything. So before you just bring anything, it might be worth going and making sure the items that they need are on the list, so that you're not having to go back and forth and throw things away. But otherwise, it was a great tour, and it really opened my eyes on how well they do things over there.
Any other comments? Okay, we will move into the next action item, our agenda item, reports of standing committees. Public safety.
We had no meeting today. Had nothing to bring up.
Okay, and your next meeting is February 5th?
No, oh well.
Well, agreed, we will work on committee assignments, but public safety's next one will be Public Works.
No meeting today.
Okay. We'll move into reports of city officers. So let's start with Mayor here. First thing is the Christmas recycle. I want to make an announcement is going on down at Horseshoe. It goes on through January 8th. Feel free to bring a live tree, undecorated, obviously, no lights, no flocking, no wires, stands, tree stands, etc. So that's going on. Next item that I want to touch on is Minol. It was touched on here briefly. So today I spent the day at City Hall going through, and one of the things that I am set up, a meeting was set up. I will be meeting with Minol directly to understand what their services are, that they are providing. When we say corrections, what corrections, it will just be a full sit-down meeting with me to get up to speed with them and say, hey, listen, what exactly is our roughly $10,000 a month charges covering? What is it paying for, not paying for, that type of deal. So I just want people to be aware that is one thing that I'm committed to doing, researching that and looking into it further on piece. Again, we said you could talk during action items, so if somebody had a question or comment about Minol, I'm happy to let you have time now. Okay, the next thing, let's talk about what's transpired over the last 5 days here at the City of Woodland. I think it's emotional for me to talk about. It's very difficult. I do get emotional talking about this. So bear with me here. We do have 2 individuals that have been terminated, and we have an individual who is no longer with the police force because the budget was eliminated. We can sit and rehash and go through right, wrong, or indifferent on that budget, on the lines, and all of those things. And so I just want to talk through, as a city, as individuals here, and the whole 9 yards. Yes, there was a executive session on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Everyone showed up. What we discussed there stays an executive session, but it is time now to come clean and talk about what has transpired. So I met today and had conversations with outside legal. I put out a press release today. Again, I hear words of a forensic audit. I hear words of collusion, fraud. I hear all those things. My accounting side of me gets excited as well. At the end of the day, the mayor, first of all, at the end of the day, council made the decision to change employment contracts. We can argue whether or not it should be. We need to, as a city, move forward and unify. It is something that was done. It was in the past, those contracts. Again, Will, what he did, he had the right as mayor. If you look at RCW code, he had the right as mayor to terminate employees. And yes, we can use the word termination. Those employees received their severance payment and their final checks already. It did cost our city over $200,000. I'm an open book and telling you, we booked it into 2023. It went into last year's actuals. We do not have all the accounting done for 2023. It is there. It has been booked. All three of those individuals received it. It is open. It's not something that has to be confidential, that piece. So I apologize. I'm getting a little emotional here because that is not my money, your money. It's all of our money that is being spent there. Going forward, what is the recommendation from outside legal? What is recommendation that I am taking very wholeheartedly? And I've also put in an email communication to each of the council members here. We need to do something to protect our citizens. In 4 years, my term will be over. You should not have to take my word that I'm not going to do this. You should have something in writing that guarantees that Todd is not going to do this. So, again, that is something that I will work with city. I will work with the councilors and we will come up with something to protect the citizens. What it will look like, I don't know. But again, like I'm saying, you should not have to sit here and take me for my word. We should have something in writing to protect us. So with that, that's kind of what I want to touch on. My ask is, I realized there was a lot of conversation and I heard 30, 70, and I heard people. It's time that we as a community come together. We put this here, we paid it, we're done. Yes, we need to make sure our financials are in control. We need to look through and see what was there and done. We can't chase good money out of bad money. Again, what does litigation, what does, all of that cost? I'm not here to spend money to go after $200,000 that might cost us more than that. That is who I am as a person. So, again, I put the press release out today. I take it wholehearted, responsibility for that, right, wrong, or indifferent. And if there's questions, comments, I am open right now if people want to. Again, we have an attorney here, our attorney there. If there's things I can help with or answer, I think it's part of our healing process as a community to have an open dialogue and conversation.
I'd like to know.
We need you to come to the mic, but here is my one ask that I will ask, and I know that there is conversation that Todd is a tyrant. I will ask that we be respectful and courteous. Sorry, that was Siri listening to me. I will ask that we are courteous and kind and respectful to one another. At the end of the day, we are neighbors, we are community members, and it takes 6,500 of us to make this town great, with another 5,000 to 6,000 people in the county to make it great with us. So with that.
I would just like to understand, since it was our money that was spent, what were the 4 council members thinking that voted in favor of changing the contracts on these employees before they were terminated?
So again, if they want to answer to that, they can, or whatever. I will let them have.
Well,
so I want to answer. So with the lawyers and the litigation people that I talked to today, they did tell me it's not uncommon for an outgoing administration to change contracts, that it is to give sense of security to those employees that are there. So they said, Deinhardt, it is not uncommon. Although they did say it is uncommon for the outgoing administration to terminate people. So, again, so I just don't, I want to be careful that
No,
it's
I
not.
just like to understand their rationale. And it's true they can change contracts, but these were terminations without cause.
Correct.
And that's unique.
Yep. If anybody wants to speak, they can. If not,
Some of those council members are no longer even here.
What?
Some of those council members are no longer on.
right. And agree, we need to remember that some of those council members are no longer on sitting members of council.
I just got one question. On the changes that were made at a couple council meetings ago, which ones were affected by the terminations? Because I think it was just one that truly affected like actual payouts.
Yeah, so there were, great questions, so let's clear that up. So there were 4 contracts that were amended. From a three of those were from a 3-month severance termination without cause to a 6-month. That was our Public Works Director, our Development Director, and our Chief of Police, those 3 positions. And then the lieutenant's position changed the ownership of Bolo. So instead of it being a 3-year employment with the City of Woodland, it was a 1 year of employment with the City of Woodland to have ownership. The severance, the 3-month severance with the lieutenant, that was not impacted by council. So out of these 3, the dog piece no longer being with the city was impacted by that decision, and 3 months of additional severance to the Public Works Director was impacted by the council decision. So great question, Monty, and I do want to clear that up. Okay? Yes, sir. I hope you heard my earlier request to be respectful and all that.
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Yep.
Yep, my name's Roy. Just out of curiosity, the statement that you made about executive session and it being confidential, is that by law or by choice?
So executive session is by law. The decision to go into executive council was my choice, and it was based, and that's why I was very clear on the publication, it was on litigation possibility. Because again, I'm 36 hours, 48 hours prior to coming into office. These things are coming down the pipe. Again, I'm not an expert on everything here. It was very important for me to figure out, hey, what is going on? How do I protect this city?
Oh yeah, this is a mess.
And so that's
get
where
it.
we reached out. And I have to
get
give.
it. I just wanted to know the law and whether or not it was a law or a choice.
And
Because
I wanted to get-
we're all interested in transparency, right? And if there's conversations that were had then behind closed doors, which there were, that allowed this to happen, that seems to be the problem. You have a whole group of citizens in here that want to hear from the people that are elected as leaders, right? But now, the first time I came into this room, there were, 10 people sitting here. This place is packed.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great because as a community, you have to be involved and hold people accountable to what they say they're going to do, right? That's it.
So I didn't catch your name, and you don't have to give your
My name's
name.
Roy.
Roy?
Yeah.
So I'm Todd. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Again, I fully support and agree with what you were saying, and it's why it was a priority to me to have those outside conversations today, because again, I am committed to this community. It's not about me. It is our community. And if I'm sitting out there, you all know, every one of you in this room, Dinehart is going to be at that podium going, what in the hell is going on? And asking the questions just like all of you are. So I felt it was important to get information back here. So
Sure.
Absolutely agree.
And our executive sessions have RCW codes, and it had a litigation code with it.
Okay.
And so there's very few things that we can go in executive session and close the doors
Gotcha.
for. And we have to have an RCW code that goes with it that lets you know why it's behind closed doors.
Okay, perfect.
And once the matter's resolved, we're able to talk about it within parameters to
Gotcha.
let you guys know what it's about.
Thanks so much.
Can I say one thing?
You talk about that.
I'm going to say one thing about that too. So also about executive session, and maybe Mayor said it, but for us to come out of that meeting and actually speak about what happened in that meeting, it's a misdemeanor crime to speak about things that were said in that meeting. So if you do ask somebody what's what's happening and they say they can't talk about it, they're being serious. They can't talk about it. It's a misdemeanor crime.
Agreed. Thank you. Any other questions, comments on that piece there? I know that there was a lot of comment earlier. I said I would get back to it. Want to make sure that it's covered before we go on. Those are the things that I had in my. We're going to do those as we get to agenda items.
Okay.
So, okay, with that, upcoming events, city one last thing I would say. A lot of questions are going to be, are we going to hire a city administrator? Are we bringing the lieutenant back? Are we going to hire a public works director? The fire hose is shooting at me, okay? I'm working diligently through those. Obviously, we need to get an interim public works director. We can't come to a standstill here. You heard Melissa, we're going to obviously talk about the budget shortly, about the lieutenant position. So there's more to come, obviously. I don't want people to think that I'm avoiding that. I'm just trying to work as fast as I can. Okay? Upcoming events, city administrator, I will take and pass that to Travis. You want to go?
Sure. So for the record, I'm not the city administrator.
Correct.
I'm the community development director, for those of you who are wondering. So January 15th, the city offices are closed for the federal holiday. January 16th, which is a city council meeting, and it is a Tuesday. And the reason why it is on Tuesday, it's the same reason as tonight, and that is our normal meeting day is a holiday, so we, by code, hold it at the next day. So it'll be in this room at the same time. January 18th is the Planning Commission meeting. At this point, we do not have anything on the agenda, so it's likely that we will cancel that meeting, and so that'll be announced on the city's website as well. There's also an additional meeting that is not on this list because it wasn't scheduled at the time the agenda was scheduled, and that is there is a hearing examiner public hearing for the water reservoir number 4 site plan review, and that's going to be Friday, January 12th at 10 a.m. in this room, and it is published in the newspaper that's coming out tomorrow, and it is on the city's website, and it's posted in accordance with our noticing rules. So January 12th, Friday at 10 o'clock here in this room.
Excellent. Okay. From here, we'll move into our consent items. Do we have any public comment on the consent items? I have 5 or 6 people that have listed their name here, and I do not know which agenda item it is. So feel free when I get to each agenda item to raise your hand and we'll call you up. So with the consent items, is there anyone with comments on that before? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve or?
Motion to approve consent items.
Second.
Okay.
No comment on it. We don't do comments on.
Okay.
that one.
Who seconded that? Was that Mr. Burke?
Mr. Berg.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, Amanda, do you want to do a vote, please?
Councilmember Houston?
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
One point of clarification, we're just approving the agenda.
No.
We're going to go through these items.
Consent.
This is the, I'm sorry, this is the consent agenda, or,
Yeah, but are we
items, those 2 items. We're approving those 2 items.
The two that were made.
No.
Approve the minutes and the vouchers from the first of the month.
I thought we
Sorry.
already approved agenda.
Yeah, we have approved the agenda, sorry. So those, okay.
Councilmember Dowdy?
No.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
So the ayes have it, 6-1. With that, we will move into action items. So our first action item here is we need to nominate and elect a pro tem mayor. Again,
Comments first. Public comments.
correct. With that, is there anybody that has a public comment or would like to discuss that? Jennifer, Please step up to the mic.
Jennifer Ray Keene, talking as a private citizen, and I would suggest that Monty Smith, who did an amazing job during prior year, be the pro tem.
Okay. Thank you. Any other? I see Donna out in the lobby.
I agree with Jennifer. We've watched Monty fill this seat as mayor, and he's done an excellent job. And the last meeting was a little bit testy, things going on, and he's very calm and handled it very well.
Okay. With that, we will comment up here, and then we will do nominations and a vote on that.
It's nomination, then comment, then vote.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I nominate Monty also.
Okay.
I'll second that nomination.
Yeah. Second, third.
Yes, I agree too.
I think I have a fourth. Okay, I think we have nominations. With that, is there any other nominations for other individuals here?
Can I object? I'm kidding.
Is there any comment that individuals would like to give?
Yeah, no comment.
Amanda, would you like to take a vote?
Councilmember Doughty?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Houston?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
With that, congratulations, Monty. I appreciate you stepping up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the comments and kind words. I appreciate it.
I would like to say through this whole thing this weekend, Monty has been an extremely helpful resource to me. So, Monty, thank you. I really, truly appreciate it. With that, we will move to the next agenda items where we will be appointing city council members to city council committees, COG, and the mosquito board. So, do I have any public comment? Okay, so with this, we would need 2 to 3 people on the finance committee, 2 to 3 people on HR, 2 to 3 people on public safety, 2 to 3 people on public works, 1 on COG, and 1 on mosquito board. This is how I propose to do it, is I would like to just ask each of you to say which ones would you prefer, and then we can kind of decide how to do that. I think it doesn't make sense for me to make a recommendation if it's something you have no interest in, because if you don't have an interest and passion in something, you're not going to want to stay on that. Yes, sir.
The only thing I think we need to be cautious of is making sure that people are separated on meeting days. So we need to know the meeting days and put the names down as kind of where
Correct.
it'll fit
I'd like
best.
to do public works.
So hold on. So I absolutely agree, Monty, and I do have that 5:30. You know, I have the first meeting of the month, finance and HR, so I can keep that absolutely. Okay. With that, I'm just going to start here on the end, and Terry.
Maybe we should go in order of
Okay.
seniority.
Carol.
I would say Public Works, and if need be, the Finance Committee.
Okay.
So my background is mainly maintenance, electrical. I do well in the public works department. That is more my wheelhouse. I have done a year of finance, and I would rather never ever do finance again.
Hey,
So if we could do HR, since that would be a new one for me.
Okay.
For clarification, Monty, you're requesting Public Works and HR or just HR?
I thought we're doing both.
You can do
Okay.
two.
Yeah, HR, public works.
Okay. JJ.
I'd like to be on finance, human resources, and the mosquito district.
Okay.
So there'll be a
Okay.
conflict with that because Human Resources and Finance meet the same time and day.
Yep. both meet on the same Monday?
I can be both places.
No,
No, you can't.
Oh, you can't?
no.
Well, different time? Oh, finance.
Okay, I'm gonna move on over here to Melissa.
I would like to do HR and public safety.
Okay. Douglas?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to volunteer for all four of them, really,
Yeah, no.
because I think they all need work. I was currently on Public Works for the last month, and I find that very, very interesting. I see a lot of entries that are miscellaneous on our expenses. That bothers me. I've got a significant background. I've owned several businesses in the past, and I think we really need to work on that format, and we need to detail that in a lot more. We need to articulate it a lot more in detail. So that's my first comment on that. We had some people questioning the vouchers, and I'm full agreement on it. That we need more accountability on it. I don't like a miscellaneous for several $1,000s. It just rubs me the wrong way.
You gotta pick two, though.
Yeah, so what's the, it must be,
Finance?
finance is one of mine, and I'd like to be on Public Works.
Finance and your other one then?
Public Works.
Public Works, okay. Terry?
Is JJ ready?
No, I already got two.
What'd you pick?
Finance and mosquito district.
Okay.
Yeah, so he crossed HR
Oh,
off.
good, because I don't like mosquitoes.
Oh, I love them.
And I also,
I could bring you a bottle.
I also don't want to have anything to do with the details of the finance committee, so those are out for me. I have served on HR and on public safety. I like both those areas and I would be willing to continue there, but also Public Works, but it sounds like we've got that covered, so.
Okay. Gabe?
I like Public Works and Public Safety.
Okay, Public Works and Public Safety can't go.
Public Work,
hand in
Public
hand.
Works then.
Public Works?
Public
Yeah.
safety is what we need people on.
I've built water and sewer plants and have a lot of experience in underground utilities, so I think that would be a good one for me.
Okay,
We can't have more than three.
right. Yep.
And I think I was already on the Public Works from the email I got.
I don't have to be on finance. I can be on.
We need, yeah, I got this here.
Okay.
I gotcha. So, here, everyone's given their piece, and I'm kind of writing these down. So the first one is finance. So the people that I have that are interested in finance are JJ, Douglas, and Carol. Do we have anyone, I need a motion to do each one of these? Is this how we are gonna do this, or do we do all of them at the very end?
Just
Amanda?
do all of them at the very
Okay.
end.
So then let's go to the next one is HR. So HR, I have Monty, Melissa, and Terry. The next one I have is Public Safety. And I have Melissa and Terry. And then the last one is Public Works. I have Carol, Monty, Douglas, and Gabe for 4. So I need, we would probably need, we do need somebody from Public Works, either Carol, Monty, Doug, to go to Public Safety.
Well, I was gonna say I could go off of Public Works and do COG if you wanted me to.
Okay? Carol wants to do COG. So we do have one space available in Public Safety if there is somebody who would like to also participate in Public Safety. It couldn't be Monty, Doug, or Gabe.
I can do public safety.
Thank you. Okay, so here is my recommendations after this going through here. Finance would be JJ, Douglas, and Carol. HR would be Monty, Melissa, and Terry. Public Safety would be Melissa, Terry, and Carol. Public Works would be Monty, Douglas, and Gabe. Carol would do COG, and JJ would do mosquito.
I can do mosquito if that, there's a conflict with, you only need one.
Yep, it's only one. Sir?
May I, Bill Fashing with COG, if we could get a representative and an alternate, just in case. I trust Carol will be there most of the time, but if there's a backup, that really helps us to meet a quorum when we need to.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thursday at noon.
JJ said
Third,
he'd be
third
back.
Thursday of the month at noon.
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect.
You'll let me know where at, okay, perfect.
We'll provide details.
Okay.
Tied at the hip with him. With that, any other discussion, comment from council? So do I have a motion on that recommendation there?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Melissa? Comment?
I think that's a great committee groups.
Carol?
Same.
Any other comment? With that, Amanda, can you take vote?
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston.
Aye.
With that, we have a 7-0 vote, and we'll go to the next action item, which is item F. We have eliminated item E. Item F, authorize mayor to sign amendment number 1 to interlocal agreement for law enforcement records services with Cowlitz County. Do we have any public comment on this item? Is there any comment online about this item? Council?
I make a motion to approve the action item F.
So I have a motion by JJ. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Carol. JJ?
That's a normal one we have to do, and if we don't do it, we ain't gonna have no 911 calls.
Correct.
Agreed.
Carol? Correct. I just want to give a little more color to it. I talked to the chief today. Yes, this is for after hours. So absolutely agree. I mean, this is an extension and just continuation of that contract, which is needed for, after hour records. So with that, Amanda, do you want to take vote?
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
With that, it's a 7-0 vote. It is approved. Moving on to action item G, ordinance number 1548, marijuana retail sales zoning text amendment, light industrial. This is a final reading.
Motion to approve ordinance 1548.
Can I have comment from the,
Oh, sorry. Just kidding.
I'm getting up to speed on what I'm supposed to do here, buddy. So, with that, do I have any comment, public comment on this? I know I have names on here. So, well, let me go down the list because I do have some people with item G. So let me just go with that and then we'll raise our hand. So, John Storr.
Yeah, my name's John. I'm just asking
Perfect.
not to zone me 1,000 feet from the high school or middle school. It just got passed for Washington. But for like Monty's job, he has to go off federal law. You can't even test for marijuana anymore for any jobs unless you're federal guidelines. I'm just asking for the C2 zone, not light industrial, where I can move 1,000 feet from the high school or middle school. And when it does become federally legal, which is looking like getting there, I'm zoned just like a liquor store. So any zone that you have liquor stores can go into now, I would be able to move to at that time. I'm just asking not to do light industrial and do the C2 zone.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Terry Marvin? Good evening.
evening. Thank you.
Can I ask you just to lower the low mic a little? Thank you.
My name is Terry. I come before you as a public school educator. Particularly, I teach health to high school students. In my new health textbook that was just adopted this year, there's a huge section on drug use and abuse. The main topic being the gateway drug of marijuana. As being also, aside from being a public school educator, I'm the aunt to a very addicted nephew who began his journey of drug use and abuse 15 years ago with the use of marijuana. I know that we label it as something different today. We label it under the label of legal. We label it under the label of medicinal. We label it as all sorts of things. The title still is marijuana. It is killing a generation of people through its gateway entrance into harder use of drugs. If you've been anywhere close to Vancouver, Washington, or Portland, Oregon recently, you can see the destruction and demolishment of human life. You can zone this in whatever way you want. It still is marijuana in a community filled with family, with kids, with students who have a huge life ahead of them. The integrity is an issue that I keep hearing come up this evening. Integrity of the past mayor, integrity of you, the council members, integrity of the people of Woodland. What about the integrity of a business that comes in under the law, beside the law, that was established in Woodland years ago, that the sale of marijuana would not be in our city? I don't care where you zone it, it still is illegal. That's an integrity issue. You have somebody that moved in, there's other businesses that have to go through the proper ways of establishing their business. Wonderful businesses in the community that fuel the health of the people. We live on a very, very, very busy highway. I don't know if you've driven up 503 recently, and with the construction of all these new houses and thousands of new cars, we're going to add marijuana to the mix as something that is wide open and available to people who are now driving on a 2-lane highway. It seems as though there's not much common sense being had and not people being taken into account. You talk, Todd, about being emotional. I could stand and sob and share with you the horrific stories that our family has gone through. And no, there is nothing. You cannot share with me that there is a good to the community, that a shop that sells marijuana under any title in any zoning is going to bring a community together and is going to improve it for the better. We have a generation of kids that are being taken out of so many pieces of life, and we're taking life from them. And this would be one more way. How do I, as a in a health class, how do I look at my students and tell them marijuana is a gateway drug? And they tell me, but I'm driving by every day a shop that is legal. We've got an integrity issue here. We have an ethics issue. We have too many things that we can bring in that are good, that are wholesome, that are going to lift our kids up. We want a community of people who are productive. We don't want a community of people who are sleeping. That's what we see in Portland. We don't need that in Woodland. We moved here 20 years ago to be a part of a community that was good and wholesome, and we have loved it, but I see it just slipping away. And I think integrity should be first and foremost on your vote. When you vote tonight and you ask yourself, okay, I'm going to approve this, and he's asked for a different zoning, think about it. Okay, he's not going to be next to the high school or middle school, but he's going to be next to homes. He's going to be next to a highway. He's going to be next to restaurants. He's going to be next to whatever. It's not fair to the people. So I ask you to please ask yourself the question sincerely. How does this make Woodland better? Because it doesn't. Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever had cancer?
Have I had cancer? No, sir, but I've had plenty of other issues.
Okay, well, as someone who's going through it right now, I don't smoke marijuana recreationally until I started having cancer. I have neuropathy really bad, and it's the only thing that I can do so I can go outside to me, it's you should be more concerned about the alcohol in this town versus the marijuana, because that destroys more lives than anything else in this town.
And I'm not taking marijuana away from you. I'm saying you are buying it from somewhere now. You can certainly continue to buy that from another
if
city.
you're worried about the children, then that's teaching your kids what is wrong or right for them. I mean, educate your kids is what needs to happen versus taking it out and hiding it away from everyone.
So, okay.
My
Let's
opinion.
make sure we're respectful and,
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. So, any other comments for Terry? Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say
Oh,
something.
sure.
here.
Okay.
Terry, I feel great empathy for you. I know of many, many similar circumstances. And whoever clapped for no liquor stores in the city, or say we have a liquor store, yeah. I'd move them out of the city myself if I could. But there's so many places that we can buy liquor and recreational drugs. The way it is now, doggone casino is just 5 minutes away. Now, I think marijuana is a gateway drug for many people. Not everybody. Some people use it sensibly and sanely. But too many of our youth don't know the difference. And I can tell you personally that I've seen that really go bad. I'd rather not have it anywhere in the city limits at all myself.
Thank you.
There's too many other sources for it, and I have sympathy for people that need it for medical purposes. I have great sympathy for that, and I support that 100%. I might be there myself someday. A lot of us with gray hair might say that. But as a good example to our children,
That's right.
I really don't want it
Thank
within
you.
our city limits.
Thank you.
It's legal.
Thank you. Next on.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Todd Cloud, item G.
I like the transparency, and I just got to be honest, as a person of faith, Todd, I got to tell you, I didn't vote for you. But I can get a vote for anybody because I'm within the
Exactly,
city
you're in the county.
limits, right? So that's the catch on that one. Trying to lighten the air, folks. I have two questions. I have a well-formed opinion, but I'm not aware of when we asked the citizens of Woodland when they wanted this. Because I moved here 21 years ago, and I was happy we made the decision we made. And I'm empathetic. I haven't had cancer personally, but I have family members, a number of them. And I don't see it being a positive. So if you can enlighten me, when did we ask the citizens if this is what they wanted in the
So, again, we haven't asked the citizens. I'm going to just go down this road here because you're asking it, Todd. So, 2012, 2013, I don't know the exact year, but 2012, 2013, there was a vote on the legalization of marijuana in the state of Washington. There was those numbers within that for City of Woodland that came through. There has not ever been a vote of Woodland residents whether to allow marijuana, retail marijuana sales in Woodland or not. 100% agree. We've had this conversation up here. I've been sitting out there watching the conversation, wanting to say things. I think anybody who has heard me speak, I'm a big, huge proponent of letting individuals speak. It's not your town, Todd. It's not my town. It's all of our community, every one of us. You live in the county, but you know what? This is your community as well. We're all in this together. So I take heed with your comment. there.
In all due respect, what it seems like to me is we're using a zoning issue to get it in. And I'm not an expert on anything, but I understand zoning. As a business owner, as a leader of the church, I have to follow zoning laws. I'm good with that. So we're going to use zoning to subvert the will of people. We're talking about integrity. We're talking about involvement. I think you guys need to ask the people. I think you need to stop the zoning charade. In all honesty, it belongs in the C2 if I understand zoning at all, not light industrial. but that's maybe a separate subject. I think we're using that zoning as a tool, an avenue to subvert a process of surveying the people. Put it out there for a vote, ask the people, and maybe I'm in the minority, and if it is, then I live with that. That's America, right? So whatever I can do is just one guy. I'd like to ask you guys to table the zoning issue and ask the people. And again, I won't get a vote, but everybody that lives within city limits gets to vote. That just seems right and proper to me.
Comments?
So we did bring this up. I brought it to the table and had a discussion, trying to even get a survey, and nobody liked the survey idea. And then when it was brought up to bring it to the February vote, everyone decided that it was going to cost too much money and didn't want to bring it up for a vote. And so that's where it was left at that time. I full-heartedly agree that I definitely believe that the people need to have a say, because it's not something that I necessarily agree with, and I stood on that when I brought it up, that I think the people need to have a say. And a lot of people said, well, I've talked to the people, and I think a lot of people, when this race went, made their stance by voting the way they did. And so people feel that was how they made their stance, was by voting the way they did, showed where they stood on it. But we're still in that, let's put it legitimately in black and white. So it's too late to get it for February now. It had to be by December 31st. And so the next election would be what, November? Is there one in there? So November?
There is one in May. You could do a special one
So
where
the
the
next
cost
one-
would all be borne by
Yeah.
the city, whereas the advantage of doing February was that the school
We could've
board,
shared
there's up north in Longview, Kelso, so that cost would be shared substantially different
And now
than
we
if
don't
you're
have
all by
anyone to
yourself.
share it with. So
Yeah, I'm not suggesting additional cost, but I mean, doing the right thing costs money sometimes.
yes.
100%.
So
And
so
we
that's
just,
where
we
we're
just,
at.
I'm gonna be real careful here, but we just approved vouchers that everybody said we didn't agree with on the former mayor's travel.
For
We didn't- we-
$1,700.
Yeah,
No, I'm not.
which is not a
what I'm
budget
saying is
killer.
I agree with you. I mean, because I had
Yeah.
that in my head. I mean, I've looked at that.
So I guess I'm a little bothered by, we're not gonna do the right thing. In my opinion, the right thing, put it before the people, because of the cost. And, anybody else have any feedback? We got your opinion. I appreciate that.
I'd like to, when can I make a motion to have it changed?
So after comment here, we will go back here. So again, citizen comment, we can have a little bit of comment back with them, you know, because I think open dialogue and conversation is what we need here. So, okay. Any other comments for Mr. Cloud?
Right, I just state clearly, I'm totally opposed. I don't think it brings anything positive to our community. There are abundant opportunities for medical outlets. That's not, there's two issues that we need to not confuse those at all. We're talking about recreational use. I don't know this gentleman's sales numbers, but I don't think he's, medical is his core business. And I'd like to not see it in our community.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the room before I go online that would like to talk to item G? So I'm going to start on the right-hand side of the room, and I will work my way to the left. So if you just stay where you're at through this, I'm going to start over here. So come on up.
Elijah Johnson, terrifyingly underdressed. Hey, JJ, T-shirt crew, let's keep it going. I just want to be quick, especially on the weed thing. We all know, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm a teetotaler. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any of that. I have a terrible family history of everybody having substance abuse problems, and I've seen it all. You should give the man his store for C2. The reality is, if, like we say, you know, we're so concerned about the health of our citizens, but we're not concerned about the added sugars that result in heart disease. That's 51% of American deaths, the highest killer in the country. We care about our health, just not when it's McDonald's. We're concerned about impaired driving, just not when they're buying liquor. We're concerned about our kids being influenced, just not when they're getting a hot coffee, hot chocolate at Luckman's. I can't take my son to Luckman's because I don't drink and I don't want to expose him to alcohol. So I don't do that. John's store does about $250,000 a month, and we have a lot of new people up on, a lot of new faces up here on the city council. This is the citizens telling you what they want. Unfortunately, if Woodland was full of people like me and like Mr. Hall who don't want it and don't do it, then John would have to close up shop because he couldn't be in business. But that's not the case. If your argument is, well, no, we're not in the minority, and in fact, nobody here smokes weed, and then what we're really seeing is a massive tourist draw to our town to the tune of $250,000 a month in gross sales. So yeah, it's not in our town because we don't like it. But if we didn't like it, then the sales are coming from somewhere, and those people are helpful. Moving it to light industrial is petty legislation. I get that it's sort of saying, hey, we know that we're not going to agree with this, and we know what's going to happen whether we like it or not. Let's just get what we can get and call this a win. Everybody's been backed into a corner where you've tried to just get something so you don't feel like maybe you are on the wrong side of this. And there's a time where maybe everyone is telling you that this might be something you should do. I think it's reasonable. And again, my statement to the town as a member of the town is if you don't like it, don't partake. I don't think you should. I think it's good to educate our middle schoolers and our high schoolers that it does lead to concerns if unregulated, that it is a gateway drug to harder things. But like anyone who also went to school and studied history, you know that prohibition was a federal amendment that we undid for a reason. So sunlight is the best disinfectant, education's the best countermeasure, and I think allowing people a way to access it safely and be aware of it is better than banning it, because that's what we did with alcohol, and we don't have 200 drunk driving deaths on Lewis River Road every weekend. Or we do, and I just don't see them, but hopefully we don't. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Elijah. Back to Jennifer now as we work our way through.
Jennifer Ray Keene for the Port of Woodland. Just to note that as a representative of the industrial area, the resolution by the Port Commission back in 2012 actually prohibits any marijuana industry within port property. In addition, that we took 6 months to fight the city just to have the allowance of having our port administration office in the light industrial. For it to have a commercial use to it changes the entire thing within the zoning, as well as traffic counts and all of that that is considered into the industrial. We do not take, I'm not taking a side of neutral or against or anything. It's just a flat out light industrial zoning is very specific of what it's allowed, and this should not be put into a light industrial area.
Thank you. Next, moving my way through, I think I have Meg.
I'm going to take a whole new perspective on this. Here's my perspective. We don't need any more education. This subject has been around for a long time, and we've all read things. It's our responsibility as a human being to know what's good, bad, or indifferent. We have a lot of literature out there that we were supposed to be reading. So right now, saying that you want to know more about the subject as far as education goes, I think we've had enough. As far as putting it to the people, great idea. The problem is we have a low voter turnout. So who are the body of people we're putting this out to? And shouldn't you maybe before that try to get more people to vote so you have a better number or cross-reference of the situation? This subject obviously is sparking a lot of controversy because it's been before the council for how many sessions that I've sat in. First, you should know if it's good or bad. Second, you should make up your own mind whether it's a moral thing or an immoral thing. You should already know your vote, but if we're going to put it before the people, get out there and get more people to vote. I don't think it's fair, the way we have such poor voter turnout right now, to put this before the community, because you only have a small fraction of the community looking at that voting. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for reference, when we talk about the voter turnout and things, this last election, there was roughly 44% of our registered voters within the city. So, right. No, that's what I'm saying. I just, I'm an analytical numbers person, so want to throw that out so people know the number. I think I missed somebody over here. Go ahead, sir.
My name's Tristan. Just want to touch on the gateway thing. I believe that being a younger person, I believe alcohol is more of a gateway drug than marijuana is itself. With most all due respect, being younger, I see a lot more people indulging in alcohol in like younger grades and stuff than I do marijuana. So that's all I want to say.
Moving back through to the left, individual in the back. If you feel so inclined, we'd like your name.
Perfect. My name is Joy, and I worked at 20 after 4 for a long time. A few little things I wanted to hit on is while we were open, there was 6 alcohol at the high school. There was 1 marijuana charge the whole time we were open. That's a big thing right there. We registered voters. We were up 44. What'd you say? 44%.
We had 44% in the last turnout.
Because we did try to get our customers to vote, because it needs to be out there. I think some of the things that we're forgetting, we're just thinking, oh, it's a gateway drug, we're out there smoking it, blah, blah, blah. They're not looking at the people that, most of the people that are in your thing, they come see me. And they get their rubs because they're old, they hurt, they have arthritis, they're getting, there's CBG, CBN, for sleep. There's all kinds of different things that everybody only looks at the bad part of it. My son has ADHD, bad, severe. And in school, they forced him to go on medicine for the longest time. And his doctor said, I want to take him on. It was called methylphenidate. That's what they put him on. The doctor said he wanted to try the marijuana. They tried it. My son graduated with a 4.0. And I told the doctor, I don't want to do that. No. And he said, just try it. And it worked. I think we're not giving people the opportunity. I have a lot of customers that ride their bike to my store because they can't get anywhere else. They're older. If you would come in on a Monday and watch our store when we were open, all of my customers are over 60 years old. So I'm just really confused where we're trying to are we trying to help the kids, or are we trying to just be pissed off because nobody wanted the store to come in and everybody held a grudge because maybe we didn't go through the right, canals to get to where we were. No doors were open for us. We were eminent domain, we tried to do the right thing. We've been here over and over and over again. We've beat this horse till there's no more beating the horse. I totally 100% agree on let's get the city to vote, because I'm pretty right. As they said, we made so much money that the city of Woodland needs this. That's all I have.
I just want to throw out, just for transparency here, so people know, because it's very wide open. My wife, yes, was one of the people who complained and put with the code enforcement about the zoning. So again, anytime conversation is here and we have prior knowledge or prior, information, I think we always should disclose it. So I do want to make sure, I know, Joy, you have.
Right.
So.
I've been on unemployment for 5 months. Yeah. I'm ready to go back to work.
But I just want everybody else to know in the room that,
Perfect.
So, full disclosure, I don't want people to be like, why didn't Todd disclose that? So, yep.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions, guys?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving through, gentleman in the back.
Hello, my name's Levi Holes. I'm 23. I'm a God-fearing family man, and I've been smoking marijuana for almost as long as I've been legally allowed to. I'm about to be 24, and the majority of that time I've spent working 2 jobs, working side jobs. I go home to my kids. I help out with my kids every day. I have a 3-year-old, a little girl. Sorry, I'm not good at public speaking. A little girl who's about to be 1. In no way has weed ever prohibited me from doing any of those things. I've always been able to get up, go to work, do what I need to do, take care of my family, smoke a little weed to relax. It's never caused any problem. And I will admit, some of that time working 2 jobs was spent working for JP over at 20 After 4. And I've never seen the man be anything but helpful towards people in the community. We'd have people coming in every day who, I've tried everything for my sleep, my pain, my illness, and none of it works except coming in and getting my gummies or getting my weed. Helps me go to sleep, helps take the pain away, helps me relax. I just don't see the harm in it. That's all I gotta say.
Comments? Thank you, Levi. You did great.
Yeah.
I agree, you did great. Thank you.
With that, before I go to online, is there anyone else in the room that I may have? Go ahead, gentlemen.
Hello. I was a medical care provider for many years, and I've seen people have used this effectively without problems. And myself, I'm a teetotaler. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I have coffee, that's about it. And so for me, I wouldn't be using any of this. I've known people with psychiatric disorders, like extreme anxiety, completely shut in, who've used it, who've been able to relax. I've seen people in enormous pain, and I've seen people with severe cancer who are just basically wasting away, able to eat and function. So I don't think this is like the crisis is being made out to be. I think, yes, children should be kept away from children, their developing brains, but adults should be able to make the decisions, just like they do with alcohol, just like they do with cigarettes, just like they do with milkshakes, to be able to decide what they eat and what they consume. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other conversation inside the room? Online, I see Carol.
Hi. So we have trouble online hearing a lot of the conversations, so I'm going to try not to repeat what other people have already said. But I do agree that prohibition did not work, and this is the direction that it's going. I don't personally use it, but I know many people who do. Most of them are for medicinal reasons. And I think, as I think somebody mentioned, that the light industrial was a punitive vote, and I would agree with that. The Planning Commission recommended to amend the code to allow it in the highway commercial zoning district, and I suggest we stick with their recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anyone else online that I may have missed for action item G? With that, I will open it up to council.
Motion to approve ordinance 1548.
I want to make a motion to allow retail
Mr.
sales.
Reinhardt.
Oh.
Hey, Mr. Reinhardt.
Yes, sorry. Yep. Oh,
Hey, I
Mr.
just
Rosenbaum.
want to make a quick comment. I am personally opposed to the dispensary being in Woodland. That said, I think Mr. Cloud pretty much stated everything I would state, so I don't want to labor the issue. But if for some reason we don't put this for a vote to the people and the council does approve the light industrial area, I think it would be prudent to have the Liquor Control Commission allocate who the next person on the lottery list is to open the next dispensary if there is one opened.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rose. Oh, yep. Thank you, Mike.
My motion on the floor.
Yes.
Ordinance number 1548, motion to approve.
Do I have a second? I do not have a second. So,
Point of order, clarification. You say motion to approve. Motion to approve or motion to vote on it?
Motion to approve.
It's one and the same. You can vote yes or you can vote no.
It's the same concept. So a no vote on this will keep the old ordinance against retail sales anywhere in the city in effect. A yay vote on it will allow it to be placed from its current position to light industrial. Am I correct?
correct.
Then I'll second for the vote.
Okay, I have a second. I will open to you, Monty.
I appreciate everybody's comments, and I have heard everything, and I don't do this lightheartedly. I'm trying to be in the middle ground here. I've heard people want it. I've heard people that don't want it. And I'm just trying to find a spot that would work. I don't think it's going to pass in the commercial zone. I don't think you're going to have the support for it. So I'm shooting at a gamble here that maybe we can get it in the light industrial so that the city, the people who do want it, have an option. The people who don't want it don't have it in the commercial zone. I appreciated Ms. Keene's comments on it. I completely understand. I'm literally shooting at anything because I don't think it's going to approve in the commercial zone either. So this is where I'm at. This is, I think, the best chance of actually putting it somewhere if you can get the support for it.
Douglas?
I would point out that the light commercial zone goes right up next to the high school, north of town too. And I got real concerns about that. It'd be even closer to the high school.
There's a vape shop going in there I haven't heard anybody complain about.
Point of order.
Yes. That'd be my comment. I don't think, one last comment is, I don't think the discussion is whether marijuana is good, bad, or otherwise so much, or whether we should allow medical versus recreational use. That, the state's already decided. Anybody can buy marijuana in this state at established retail locations for medical purposes or not. And I support the medical one. I totally support that. I think it is a gateway drug for way too many people, and we need to educate our kids on an ongoing basis. But we, as elders of the community, are going to have to ask them to make a decision here whether it should be in the city or not at all. That's the decision. Do we allow it here? We can't say it's not allowed anywhere, and not only as I want to do that, because I personally might need medical marijuana in the future. And I got great sympathy for that. I just don't want it on our streets for our kids to say, yeah, I mean, the community thinks it's okay, so that normalizes it to a degree. It tells them that, the community around here thinks it's okay. It's not a bad particular thing, so we're gonna give you access to it. And not the kids.
They're
not
supposed
that
to be
they're
representing the community, though.
So hold on.
Yes.
Point of order.
Finish. Hold on.
Go ahead. And it's a very controversial, very, very controversial item, and I appreciate that. I just say that it's available for those who need it elsewhere, and I don't want it for sale in our particular city. This is like I don't particularly want the liquor sales within our city limits either, because it's got its own set of problems. I got great sympathy for that, but the problems probably aren't similar. So I think it's apples to oranges. And for this young fellow who is just in his late teens, early 20s, my comment to you is you wait a few decades and see what happens to people that have long-term use of it or abuse it. And you would be surprised. So, I mean, that's my personal observation. I'm dead set against it, have it in the city. Too many other places that are relatively available.
Okay. Melissa?
I am against having it in light industrial. I believe that it does put it closer to our middle school and high school, and I if it's going to be in our city, I would prefer it to stay in the C2 zone. I ultimately do believe that we do need to have a vote on it in our city, but I would rather see it amended to be back in our C2 zone, which our planning commission did recommend.
Yes.
And I think if we're gonna vote on it, it needs to be where our planning commission suggested it and where it's at, because it's not right where the schools are, and this puts it closer. And again, what Ms. Keene said, it's, light industrial is not meant for retail sales, and so I think that opens a whole new can of worms.
And there'll
for our
probably never
city.
be more than one store.
Let him.
And so I believe if we're gonna do this and have it have a chance, that we need to put it back in the zone that was recommended to us.
Woodland will probably never have the residents to allow more than one store, so leaving it in C2 seems to be the right thing to do is for zoning, they thought, and that's where it should be. It's not like there's gonna be a store popping up on every corner in town, because it won't happen. There won't be enough residents. I don't see Woodland getting over 15,000 people in town anytime soon. I've lived here 47 years, and it's time to adapt with the times, I think.
Any other comments?
No.
Monty, sorry.
If anybody else had something to say, then they can take over from here. But as far as, having it sold in Woodland, it's already here. It's not going to matter if it's sold in Woodland or not. I mean, it's sold 5 minutes up the road at A there. It's not going to change, whether it's sold in the industrial, whether it's sold in commercial. I'm purely trying to put it somewhere that maybe can accommodate the best spot for all the citizens, the people who want it and the people who don't want it. Is it a perfect solution? No. And I don't think you're going to be able to get the vote to send it to the citizens to put it on a ballot as well either. So this is living in the middle right here, guys. I'm trying something. If somebody wants to make a motion to change it to C2, welcome to try that.
I'd like to do that.
But I have a motion here and a second, so we have to take a vote here.
No. They can amend the motion to move it, I think.
Okay.
Motion to amend it and move it back to zone C2.
Second.
Point of order, I'm not sure we can do that, Melissa. The motion was to approve it
They're
as,
saying yes.
move it as is. I think we'd need to ask our attorney on that.
Parliamentary procedure, former city clerk treasurer for 32 years. Motion to amend that goes above the regular motion.
So
Okay.
on the table, I have a motion to amend to a C2.
Yes.
And a second from Gabe.
Sorry, I'm just taking my notes here. Second by Gabe. Melissa?
Again, I just think that where it's at, it's further away from our middle and high schoolers. And it keeps it out of the jurisdiction that makes it a little sketchy in the light industrial where we shouldn't have retail sales and conflicts with the port. So I think ultimately it's in a better location. As much as I don't want it driving to my house every day and upriver, I think it's it is actually the only location in the C2 zone that it can even be at this point that is away from everything. There is no other place in the C2 zone, to my understanding. It is the only location in the C2 zone. Is that correct, Mr. Goddard? That in C2, that is the only location that's even available where it currently was?
No, it's currently prohibited in all zones.
No, but if it was to be rezoned to C2, that is the only C2
Yes,
location.
sorry. Yes,
that
that
is-
part is correct.
Yes, that is the only location that is able to even move. It's not, any other C2 zone is not.
And if you didn't know what it was driving through town,
Yeah,
go
it's
to the
not-
center.
Hold on a sec. We got it.
So, and again, I've had several people come up to me that says they didn't even know what it was for a very long time. It's not something that's in your face like a lot of dispensaries are. So if we're gonna put it in Woodland, it is more tasteful and it is away from the ones who are going to get it. And truthfully, the kids that are getting it in Woodland, they're getting it from parents anyways. They're not getting it from legal ways. So the dispensary has nothing to do with how they're getting it. So as much as you guys are worried about it, I work in the schools. I have kids in the schools. These kids are getting it from parents, and it's not because of a dispensary that's in town. This was happening way before the dispensary was here. No, it's not.
It's not.
So I'm just letting you know that whatever you're thinking this dispensary is doing, that is not why they're getting it. So.
Okay. Gabe.
I went to high school here, and having the dispensary, first of all, the owner of the business does great things for the community, which he doesn't want any acknowledgments for, or he doesn't even care if people know. He does it out of the generosity and the kindness of his heart. He's not trying to buy people's, he just does it because he's a good person, and we need more businesses like that in town. I mean, and it's also a stream of revenue. When people go there, they go to Walmart, they go get gas, they go all over town. So it's not just the sales from the marijuana you're missing out on. You're missing out on the 5 other places they stop after they go there or on their way home. So.
Okay. Any other comment? Carol, sorry. You're
Well,
too close to me to see.
That's all right. I've never been for it, and I've not kept that a secret at all, and I'm still not for it. So that's my opinion.
So you're not in favor of
Favor.
either motion?
Either motion.
Just want to be clear.
Yep.
Any other comments before we take a vote on the motion to amend? Because that is the one that we first have to go to, and then depending on that, away we go. Any other comment? Oh, I'm sorry, Monty.
The industrial zone is my compromise from the multiple citizens that have talked to me about it, who are pro and against it. So.
With that, Amanda, the motion to amend C2.
Councilmember Hall,
No.
Councilmember Rounds,
No.
Councilmember Smith,
No.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke,
No.
Councilmember Frymark,
No.
Councilmember Houston.
Yes.
With that, the noes have it 5-2. So now we're back to our original motion on zoning in the light industrial. As it reads, ordinance 1548. I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any additional comment from council before we take a vote on that?
Yeah. Why are we keep going away from what the planner says where they think it should be?
I can address that.
Let me answer that.
Sure.
Because I think the planners were wrong.
Well,
And
what about
many
the-
other people do, and if
So
you
were
think
they-
they're right.
Hold on a second, Gabe. Let him
Okay,
finish his
all right.
thought and then we'll go
You know,
back.
that, just because they said one thing doesn't necessarily mean that everybody thinks that that's their opinion. And
So is
we
that-
have to take it for his opinion. That's
Is
it.
that how the votes went for the, contract changes and stuff last week? I'm just trying to
Yeah, I
understand
know,
where
I got sympathy
people's.
for what you're saying, and things got out of hand, and I don't like the way they came down, frankly. I don't mind telling everybody that.
I just think there's too many personal agendas up here and not enough citizens
Yep.
with the people.
But let's stay focused on the problem at hand. And that's all. You guys know how I feel about it.
Okay. Monty has a comment.
Planning Commission votes on it, sends it to us. It's up to us to approve what the Planning Commission says or doesn't say. And we've spoken. It sounds like it's going to be a no in commercial. We have said no to the Planning Commission. This is the council's body to do that. As far as sending it to the vote, it's the council's decision to send it to a vote. So we could be in the same scenario if we send it to a vote. That is why the compromise for me is industrial zone. Nobody wins. Welcome to the middle ground.
With that, any other comment? Let's take a vote.
Councilmember Rounds,
No.
Councilmember Houston,
This is to approve ordinance 1548 marijuana retail sales zoning text amendment light industrial final reading.
So
We have a motion and a second
to keep it in light industrial?
to approve it in light industrial.
No, I don't want light, so no.
Councilmember Freimark,
No.
Councilmember Dowdy,
No.
Councilmember Burke,
No.
Councilmember Hall,
No.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
And with that of a vote 6-1, it fails. Okay. We are now going to move on to our new agenda item. We're going to take a 5-minute break, I'm being told to the left. It is 9:25 p.m. with a break. We'll be back at 9:30.
Recording in progress.
It is now 9:31, and we are back in session. We're going to go to budget item J, or agenda item J.
H.
Right, budget item J, which is agenda item J, which is about the budget as presented on December 4th, 2023.
Motion to approve budget as is presented on December 4th.
Are we going to take
Second.
public comment first before we make a
So-
motion?
Valid argument.
That was before any changes, right? Before they made any changes to it?
Correct. So agenda item J that we are working on now
Be quiet.
is to amend the current approved budget and go back to the budget as
The first reading.
approved on the first reading, which was December 4th, 2023. And to be clear, it moves $149,828 from the unreserved general fund into the police department fund for the cost of exactly to the penny for a lieutenant at a step 4. So again, if we hire somebody off the street, it might be a step 1, step 2, it may be a lower price, but $149,828 is the price of Lieutenant Ortiz. I just want everyone to be clear on that piece.
So, so you want to add, since we took off, since it was taken off, so you want to add a position again?
So ultimately, at the end of the day, the lieutenant position goes in there, and yes, it as approved in December 4th, it adds an additional officer over 2023 actual officers. Correct. Right now, your number of officers is the same, so you're really not adding that resource officer. Do you understand what I'm saying, JJ?
Yeah, but didn't we add another sergeant too?
No.
No.
That was, okay.
We have had 3 sergeants
told
there.
we did.
No.
Can I do a point of order?
We added a patrol sorry.
Can I do a point of order? Are we going to public comment? Because we can hash this on the
Yep.
action for voting on the
Okay.
agenda item. So if we were going to public comment, I think all of this discussion can go
perfect.
as far as,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, so any comment on the agenda? Mary Rip. Again, this is on the budget item J that has been added.
Yes, so my comment is this motion or action would definitely add the lieutenant position back into the police department budget. It gives the mayor the authority to advertise and hire if he sees fit. My only comment is, I know he's gonna come in and do a full review of the budget items, and I think that is needed before the position will be funded. And I know there's some major concern with your police guild, so I know that's gonna be listened to too, and it will be ran through the HR committee, I hope. Thank you.
Any other comments from individuals in the room? Any comments from individuals online regarding the 2024 budget, reverting back to that of the first reading on 2023, December 4th? Okay, now I will open it up to council. Do I?
Okay, so I already motioned. Are we leaving the motion, or do I need to re-motion?
Motion.
Okay, I motion to approve the budget as it was in our first reading on December 4th with the lieutenant position in our budget.
Second?
I have a second. Melissa?
Okay, so it was never our intent to get rid of the lieutenant position. So even though Lieutenant Ortiz is no longer with us, I still believe it is a relevant position within our police department. And even if that means promoting someone within our department, if the chief sees fit, it gives room for upward promotion in our department or to have it as an outside position. I still feel that that is a very important position that, working with the new mayor, we can even figure out how that can be a beneficial position to our police department.
Monty?
Yeah, I wasn't real thrilled with the change there. It was pulled out at the last minute on us and was not made clear that that was removed. And so I would like to right that wrong. Unfortunately, it's going to cost the city 3 months severance because we did not catch it. So I would like to right that wrong and put it back in, and Mayor Deinhardt can decide whether he wants to hire or who he wants to hire, but I want to make sure that it's known that we want that position back in there. So thank you.
I'm agree with them that I wasn't aware either, but I'm of a mind of Mary Rip that I think that we should let you go through the few things before we take any steps, because we can always do this anytime, make an amendment to the budget and bring someone on. So I think we ought to wait and see how things pan out before we jump to put it back in.
JJ, you
I
had a
agree
comment?
with it. I agree with Carol.
Okay. Any comment about it, or just that you agree?
Yeah, I'd like to know what our police chief thinks. I believe in the chain of command, and not that I'm against putting more money into the police department. I'd absolutely do that, whether we need a lieutenant's position or not. But I'd like input from the chief on how that money should be best spent.
Chief?
Thank you. I do agree with council. The position is necessary. It gives us an added cushion between the collective bargaining unit and myself. The lieutenant, before she left, she was responsible for supervision of the 3 sergeants, and she was also responsible for managing certain programs that we have within the PD. And so that takes a little bit of administrative duties away from the collective bargaining unit and keeps it at the administrative level. And the collective bargaining unit can focus on what they've always done in the past. The schedule, the training regiment, any training programs, the FTO programs. The new programs was what the lieutenant managed. Our body worn camera program, the aerial UAV program that we have in place, and our wellness program. So those would be programs that the lieutenant's position would handle.
So you are saying you are for it,
Yes,
Chief?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Melissa?
And I want to make it clear, the money, when they took it and took the line item out, they moved it not to anywhere that it's being used for anything else. So the money's still clearly there and able to be earmarked for the same thing. It's not earmarked for anything else in our budget. So it is
Correct.
not like we're taking it from something else they reallocated
Yeah,
it
it's
for. It is literally the
unallocated.
exact same amount that we're just removing and titling it what we're now using it for. So I definitely cannot see waiting because it's, and I know that there's certain parts of our budget that are way under, what's the word we used? Way under budgeted.
Underfunded.
Not underfunded, under the amount of money that we're probably going to receive this coming year was way under. Way conservative, that's a good word. Way conservative in the amount we're going to receive for some of the building projects and things like that we are going to get, that we're going to have extra money coming in this coming year for things that I'm not worried about us.
Money?
In some of that sense.
I think Mayor Deinhardt is going to go over the budget no matter whether we do it now or not. So I think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be amendments to the budget, and ultimately he can decide whether he wants to hire this a position or not. Because if he doesn't choose anybody and bring it to us, then we're not going to be able to say, you're hired. So either way, us amending the budget right now is just stating it on the record that, you know what, we weren't okay with this and we want it changed back. And making that on the record today. And I think that's what we're going for here. Because I know the budget's going to be amended again here. So that's why I'm pro doing this now.
I don't want to speak for you, so you're saying it shows support to the police department. Hey, we want to give you these funds. Got it. Okay, JJ?
Yeah, I agree. My question was, how are we gonna
account for the money we had to pay out.
So
the severance pays.
So
So
it,
in other words, that's coming out of the budget.
so hold on a second. So one of the first things I did this morning is I wanted to find out if it was paid, if it was processed, all that. It was paid on December 29th. It was paid last Friday, the last day banks are open prior, even though they were to work through the 31st. It was a weekend. So yes, it's been paid. It came out of last year's budget. So it will come out of our reserve funds from 2023.
But your last year's funding is carried over into this year, right?
Your reserves
It was
are,
already
correct.
done, right?
Correct. So again, we're going to have amendments and things, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And again, we don't get a final, you all are making me get into the fire hose here, you know, of accounting. So you're not going to get the final financials for 2023, hopefully until the end of this month. We typically, it's at the end of January. And that's where we will know, and we'll have to come in with budget amendments here to move all those reserves and get them back to where the actuals are.
Okay. So should we wait a few months? I mean, pass it and wait a few months?
Are you asking me my opinion, or are
Yeah.
you?
No, well, no, I say, if we pass it, should we wait a few months before we hire, not right off the bat?
We gotta find somebody first.
Yeah.
And I would go back to chief, it's going to take some time to hire a lieutenant. I think it's we all know it's going to take some time to hire a public works director. I mean, it's not pixie dust for us and here to, go ahead, Monty.
I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Nope,
I was going
you're
to
all good.
finish. If we did pass it now, it allows you to put somebody in the interim, I think, and appoint somebody in the interim to fill the spot in the meantime, while you're trying to find somebody if you see fit, I'm assuming.
So I would have to ask the experts, but we never removed the FTE, the people. All we moved was $149,000. Do you see what I'm saying? So we still have a commitment that says, hey, we're gonna hire or have this X number of people in our police department. We just don't have dollars there now. Do you see what I'm saying here? So if we want to, and I'm saying we, as a council, decide, hey, this is what we want.
The money's there.
You know, the people number is there. The dollars are just sitting over in an unallocated general fund. So it would be coming back here and we would say, hey, we found a candidate, away we go. So, again, we're gonna have to do a budget amendments, which we always do January, February timeframe at the end of the year to move reserves around. So,
You're still going to reconcile the 2023 budget, which that'll be coming here shortly.
100%.
So this is just righting the wrong from the last budget amendment.
Yeah, and I think what you said earlier is this shows a support to our police department that says, hey, we want to right or wrong. Your budget was originally $3.2 million. We want you to still have $3.2 million budget, is what it really shows as a support to our chief and the others in the guild. So I had a motion and a second. We had our conversation. Any other dialogue? Let's take a vote.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Frymark,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Houston,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
And with a vote of 7-0, we have that. So just to confirm, we will make our budget for 2024 equal to the budget that was presented on December 4th, 2023.
And we will have a second reading next meeting, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And it'll be with the next ordinance number on the list, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. With Travis.
I'd just like to make a quick clarification. That was the first reading, and we will bring you the ordinance with a new number for a second reading at the next meeting.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct. With that, it is now 9:45, and we have a meeting that goes to 10, and we have 2 workshop items here.
I'd like to make a motion, we postpone the action, the item, workshop I. Postpone it. I'd like to see it carried out to a retreat where we got enough time to really discuss this between the council and the mayor, because there's a lot of changes, and I don't agree with them. And
Okay.
And we tried to do this for 2 years now, and it's always been put off. So I guess it's not.
So hold on a second. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Why, we're in workshop. Do we need to do any of that? I mean, we could just move this workshop to another.
Oh.
So it's not really an action item, it's just a workshop, so we just need to put it on the next agenda if we don't think we're gonna have enough time to
Right.
discuss it tonight. Not to cut,
No,
not
till
to
next
cut the.
Okay, so with that,
motion, so-
ordinance 1498, we will move to a later date, time piece there. The time is 7:47. We will enter workshop now. 9:47, sorry. 9:47, and we will go into workshop item H, which is the workshop on missing middle housing grant application.
So I have a couple things that I could present if you want me to. The issue in this case was we had requested a grant from the Department of Commerce, $50,000 to hold a public engagement process to discuss the missing middle housing that is outlined in this ordinance. I can cover that package if you want me to, but the issue that was raised by the city's attorney, who had a personal emergency and had to leave, the point that he wanted us to have a quick discussion about, and that is the city obligated to adopt changes to its zoning code if it accepts the $50,000 in the grant? We had floated that question to the Department of Commerce, but did not hear back at this point. And if you want, we could also move this to the next meeting and we get that clarification.
I would like to get that clarification.
I would too.
That sounds great, because I think that's the main point of a discussion, and what people are worried about is if we accept the $50,000 grant, does that mean that we're
What are we obligated?
obligated to for zoning? So with that, we will table action item, or workshop item H.
And go back into,
And
no,
now,
you gotta go back.
it
to the
is
meeting.
9:48, and we will enter back into our,
Make a
Council?
motion to end the meeting?
Second.
and with that, it is 9:49. I appreciate everyone, the meeting is over.
All in favor?
favor?
Aye.
Great first meeting.